Do you think, given today's market, you'd be able to charge the right money to make that work?
Too expensive.
Mm.
It would be too expensive.
This is a common conversation that I have.
So I recently helped someone set up their livery yard again.
Mm-hmm.
And we sat down with a spreadsheet and worked out costs of what we would need to charge to make it viable.
Mm.
So we're talking everything: electricity, water, paying staff, hay, feed, shaving, belling, blah, blah, blah. We sat down and worked out. And realistically, to even, make a little bit of profit, so make it worthwhile doing, you're looking full livery, $250 a week.
Right, okay, yeah.
I wouldn't be able to afford that.
No.
But that is, and even I, like, when I saw the figures, I was like, that's really steep. Like, who's going to pay that? But actually, realistically, it's what you need to charge. And that's not including riding.
Right.
So then if you're going to add my riding on top, to let's say have a horse on schooling livery, competition livery, you're looking at plus £300 a week.
Yeah.
Which is absurd, really.
Yeah,
I personally wouldn't be able to afford to do that.
No. And this is, again, where it then falls back to our earlier conversation about it becoming an elitist sport.
Yeah.
Because really it's only the most wealthy people that can actually afford things like full livery.
Yeah.
And then there's a gap where you've got these DIY people who want to do it themselves and part liveries, but equally there's a growing trend that people don't want that kind of clientele as well.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Because then I'm a little bit the same. I don't really do liveries as such on my yard. I'll have competition liveries. I'll have schooling liveries. I'll have liveries that are within my control. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I do have one full livery who is absolutely brilliant. Godsend. They are brilliant. But they're not all like that. And for me, it would be things like and I think a lot of equestrian people that do it professionally I'm so set in my routine and my ways, and my other half will say it's my way or no way, but he's probably not wrong. For me, my yard's done normally by 7:30 in the morning.
Wow.
Because then that's when I go off to ride, because then I like to get back so I can ride my own horses.
Yes.
My yard's done by 7:30. If I, let's say, had a DIY, and I came home at lunchtime and the stable still wasn't mucked out, that would annoy me.
Yeah.
And I think, especially, I think it's more so when you have someone living on site. If that place is someone's home, you don't want to walk down and it be a mess.
Yes.
Which obviously you can't control with DIY.
Yeah.
Whereas full, park to a degree assisted, you still have control of certain things that happen on the yard.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, it might just be me that annoys, but it annoys
no,
me.
I'm sure.
So, which is why I think like DIY is like, the yard I've just helped set up, we don't do DIY. And I know it is for that reason, because it's this person's home.
Yeah.
And, you come down and there's a row of 5 stables that aren't mucked out. And then there's also things like, well, if you've got a yard that's got DIY and full, the full livery horses might be out by 8 a.m. But then you might have one DIY horse that's still in at 9 o'clock. Well, then that becomes a welfare issue, doesn't it? Because that horse is going to be going round and round and round its box because all its mates have gone out to the field.
Yes.
So then that becomes a welfare issue. So then the staff normally end up feeling sorry for it and turning it out, but then that defeats the object of DIY.
Absolutely.
So then, you then have things start falling through the gaps. And for me, you either have a DIY yard and it's all DIY, which I find is normally the yards where people don't live on site.
Okay.
Because you can walk off the yard and go home and be like, doesn't matter if it's a mess because I haven't got to see it.
Yes.
Whereas I find a lot of people that live on site don't have DIY.
That's a good observation, actually.
Because also, do you want people rocking up at 8 o'clock at night?
No.
At your home?
Exactly.
No. But if they're DIY, you can't control that. The horse needs doing, the horse needs doing.
Yeah.
They might not finish work until 7:30, and that's not their fault.
No.
But do you want someone then coming up at 8 o'clock in the evening when you've put all your horses to bed?
Yeah.
And I realise that someone who's not horsey listening to this is going to think I'm insane because I'm talking about putting horses to bed. But like, you know what I mean? The horses have their routine, and they are massive routine animals.
Yeah. They love a routine. And that's why I do know a couple of yards which keep it to DIY or part, but always that they are in control of when it goes out, when it comes in, when it's fed, and then the other bits are, as and when. But I do see that, but I'm also very aware that particularly in my area, we've probably lost well over 50 or 60 boxes in the past year
Yeah.
in terms of shutting down yards. So it just makes me wonder where all those people are going, because I imagine a lot of those were DIY.
Yeah.
So that was just an interesting. I'm just trying to work out where they've all gone, to be honest. And actually, full's not that, like you say, it's not that affordable. You know, if that's $250 at the yard you were helping, I'm sure other people are going to be.
Well, the yard that I've just helped kind of set up, we've had a lot of liveries move from a yard that's recently shut down.
Okay.
And I'm not going to give out exact costs, but when I told them our prices, you know, I was told that their full livery was less than our assisted livery.
Right.
And then they wonder why the yard's shutting down.
Yes, well, there is that.
Because it's not like the prices that they gave me were almost criminal. Like, if I'm being honest, I wouldn't get out of bed for that.
No,
I
exactly.
probably would, but
yeah,
I wouldn't want to.
No, I know what you mean. I think that very much relates with the transport business.
Yeah.
Everyone moans about prices.
Everyone wants a service for nothing.
But then it's the guys which are smaller, run their own box at their lovely prices, and then in a couple of years won't be seen again. So it is literally, whilst we look expensive, what we're actually doing is we're running a business. We're not doing a lifestyle thing where we're struggling, because it doesn't sustain. It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
I'm saying this when you work every hour under the sun.
Yeah, but so do you, so it's totally relatable.
But yeah.
But yeah, I think to a degree with horses you do get what you pay for, maybe. You know, but people do want everything for nothing. They want favours, they want good livery service for peanuts.
Yes, literally.
But it's not, and this is where I'm a little bit like, actually, do you know what? But then it's the same with grooms.
Yes.
I want someone to come and work for me for £10 an hour. Well, you wouldn't do that in an office, would you?
No.
So the whole equestrian world is just so different. Like, it is a whole different lifestyle to the normal real world.
Yeah, it is.
Because there's so much that goes on, like within the horse world, that you never get away with in a corporate formal business.
No.
You know, I want a groom for £10 an hour. Well, that's illegal for one. But it's the same. But then that £10 an hour groom is supposed to do the job of 5 grooms and do it to a high standard. And so this is probably slightly going against what I've said about things being expensive. I'm slightly glad that livery yards are starting to charge actually what needs to be charged.
Yeah. Because
actually, why should someone pay their groom's minimum wage to try and scrape a profit from people not paying enough for livery?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
When it's actually, you know, you're asking these grooms to work 7:30 till 5. You know, that your normal job's 9 till 5.
Yeah.
7:30 till 5 with horses comes with danger.
Yeah.
It's hard graft. It's physical. Why should livery yards then pay them a minimum wage so that they can scrape a profit of someone not paying enough livery?
100%.
When you actually do sit down and work it out, $250 a week is just about covering a cost.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I think it's the same, again, just because of what the business I'm in, the transport, I don't pay minimum wage. I always pay a little bit more, but obviously that has to be passed on.
Yeah.
And that's the way I run the business, but that's the way it should be, because the people that have got the money are the people that don't want to pay. So it's a funny paradox.
It is a funny paradox. And it's things like, oh, well, someone will come to me, can you have my horse on sales livery but take all the money at the end? So they're basically not paying livery and I take all commission from the sale. Well, that's all well and good, but A, am I going to sell the horse? Yes. B, is the horse going to pass the vet?
Yeah.
Would I go into Tesco's and buy a meal, go home, cook that meal, and then go, well, I'll pay you when I've eaten it?
Yeah.
You wouldn't.
No,
so
absolutely.
Why is it then acceptable in the horse industry to do that?
Probably because people do it.
Yeah, but see, I can't get. I've never done it.
No,
I can't get my head around how someone can say, "Yeah, that's fine," when you don't know that horse is going to pass a vet.
No, and I don't.
Or you're going to get someone that's going to be able to ride it and buy it.
No, I don't advocate that anybody ever does that. But I guess there will be people out there that are doing it.
Yeah, there is.
And
which then makes it harder for the people that are charging their weekly livery to, get clients in.
I almost feel like if you're going to do a deal, you want it to be set up that you get your weekly livery and maybe you get less at the end, but like taking it all at the end doesn't make sense to me at all.
No.
Especially when a horse can sell anything from...
Lots of things that don't make sense. Horse world.
Yes. And like you say, there's so many things out of your control. It might not even be the vetting. It might jump for a fence and break a leg the day before it's told. So,
exactly.
And that's not your fault. So, yeah.
Exactly.